Let's go, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the LA Poker Roundup. It is April 2nd, 2025, and this is episode number 79. As always, I am your host, Ty Dobberton, along with my co-host, Derek Wan.
What's up, everyone?
Hey, guys, we've got a nice one for you today. So we've had a lot of great guests on. We've had a lot of action, a lot of activity, and a lot of poker play, and we are pretty tired. So we are going to have a nice, old-school, chill episode where we pour through the schedules, we pour through what's coming up, we go over, I just realized today that circuit schedule came out and we just whipped through it with lightning speed with Kevin. Didn't really take time to think about it too hard and give our thoughts. And also, since then, the schedule for the Gardens series has also dropped, and we haven't even shown it to you guys yet. So we're going to go through a whole bunch of that kind of stuff. And also, as always, we'll be hitting up the results and talking about what seems like Derek's perpetual deep runs down at the bike these days. All right, so let's jump right in, shall we? Let's start, as always, with our favorite tournament director in LA, with Kevin, and not at the Gardens. Remember, big show last night was to let everyone know and remind you he's over at Commerce. So over at Commerce, this past weekend, there was a massive six-way chop in a very large daily. The daily was, let me go to the Commerce page. Right here, it was for Mr. Kevin Cracy. Apparently, this is his first time playing at Commerce, and he gets the top prize in this Saturday, the big Saturday 25K guarantee, which got to much higher than that. I think it got to 45? I was there. I should know. Anyways, first prize was over $12,000 for a 250. Way to go.
Wow. So I think Kevin's bringing the Gardens numbers.
Bringing that magic. Absolutely. And you know what? I played it. Fantastic event. Love it. We'll get back into that later. Some more of the niceties that are already starting to be felt over there.
Nice.
So the Sunday guarantee, that is a 10K guarantee. But 10K is not enough. That was it's 150 buy-in with a $100 add-on. They smashed that guarantee as well. That guarantee got to almost 19,000 on a 10K guarantee, and the winner in a seven-way chop was our man Armin Pokoshian. I probably said his name. I'm sorry, Armin. Armin is, if you recall, was pretty close to the tops of our Player of the Year race for a while. So this one doesn't count, but he's probably pretty happy to take home the 36.55 for the chip lead in a seven-way chop. Way to go, Armin.
Nice.
All right. Let's hop on over to the bike. So I believe the last result that we need to catch up on is this man here, event number 29. And once again, thank you, Frank. Thank you, Larry, and whoever else at the bike may be taking these pictures for. Ooh, excuse me. Event number 29, the $360 Super Stack, 30K guarantee, had 183 entries. The prize pool almost doubled the guarantee, 55,000, and it ended in a four-way chop with Jeffrey Kirby, pictured here, taking home the win, winning just over 10,000 in a four-way chop with Hamid Koram. Oh, Hamid. Man, I thought he could only bag day ones like crazy, but he can get there on the one days too. Scott Schoen and James Conzo. So congratulations to those choppers. They all took home over 7,000.
James Conzo, but yes.
The rest of this final table, fifth place, Vi Win. Sixth place, Majde Abzak. Seventh place, nice. Andy Garcia. Eighth place, Yancy Montes, and ninth place, Carlos Lara. So congratulations to all of those players. So that brings us to not quite yet. All right, I thought that brought us to the big one, but let's handle some more of these one days. Event number 30, the $400 seniors. So that's 50 and up. Derek, you didn't play this one either, man. I'm starting to think you're like in denial.
I think my excuse this time was I was playing day 3.
I don't know. It's a shoddy excuse. I don't think senior events, they probably have a long registration window. Anyways, it got 84 entries. 84 entries, 28,000 in the prize pool. Heads up chop is how we ended this guy between David Stockton and chip leader John Pedicini. So John took home almost 9,000 and the trophy. So this is pictured as John. So congratulations to John and David. Hey, it's not a bad one there. So the rest of the final table here: third place, David Phillips. Fourth place, Leon Marzillier. Fifth place, Mark Walker. Seventh place, Jeffrey Petch. Seventh place, King Lou. Eighth place, Christine Scherer. And ninth place, Tongguan Sun. So congratulations to the final table there.
Nice work. I think Jeff Pesh is a veteran who plays poker now. He's introduced himself to us. I think he has
He's that fella.
round of
Yeah. Congratulations,
Yeah.
Jeff.
Congrats, man.
That's right. Way to go. Event 31, the Torse event. Similar to Horse, except with triple draw, which is way better than Hold'em, Limit Hold'em anyways, which attracted 36 entries. And the winner was Matthew Cursar, who beat Mark Nasser heads up. So congratulations to those guys. Matt gets himself a trophy. And apparently he also won event number 10, which was also Torse. So okay, this man he's the goat at Torse this series.
Torse guy.
Yeah. So the rest of the cashers in this thing: third place, Michael Casella; fourth place, Taxi Vargas; and fifth place, Sean SFYU, who got second in that other event that Matthew won. So way to go! Congrats.
Usual suspects.
The huge. All right, and then event 32, the $360 bounty event with $50 bounties in play, had 77 entries. This ended with a three-way chop. The chip leader was Jason Chun, and he took home a little over $6K plus his bounties, which, wow, those are very large bounty chips. Congratulations to Jason and the rest of the final table. Let's see. So three-way chops. The other choppers here were Nicholas Figliomenti and Sam Talim. And let me finish the reading off the final table, and then I'll circle back. Fourth, Evan Avery. Fifth, Hector Aldana. Sixth, John Linkowski. Seventh, Jay Pack. All right. Eighth, Nan Chen. And ninth, Douglas Bremer. So congratulations. Oh, and I got to mention Eugene Tito bubbling the final table there. 10th, it's a bounty event. I'll read the whole thing. 11th, Jeffrey Janis. And 12th, Audley Harrison. Congrats to all you folks.
Yeah, Audley Harrison, like the boxing glove. Good job, Frank.
Yep. So I just kind of want to point out, though, look, I'm looking at this three-way chop, and the numbers, very interesting. 6,000, almost 4,000, but not quite. And then 2,500. Man.
It doesn't look like a chop.
Yeah, I feel like this three-way chop, unless the chips were extremely unique, I don't think they were listening when we gave the short stacks the advice. You really, really need to put in your own ICM numbers, guys. I feel like this was the Bike's custom chip chop formula. So could be wrong.
I don't think I've ever seen a chop that extreme.
Right, where it's there's only 3 people left, and those are the numbers. Unless like Sam had like 5 big blinds, right?
Yeah, it feels like Jason must have had a massive chip lead for this too.
Right.
Have gone this way, but yeah.
Yeah. However, if it's much more believable if you think that Jason had, say, 40% of the chips in play, maybe not quite 50, and then Nicholas had like 30 to 35, and Sam had 20%. This would give you the chip chop numbers, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas an ICM model would bring you much closer because, at those numbers with these dailies, the blinds you're probably talking sub 15 big blinds, so these stacks are not worth that kind of a separation.
Right.
So just a note. All right, so let's talk about the big boy. The Mini Mega Millions was this week. That was the jewel. That was the feather in the cap. That was the big one. That's the one we were all trying to get. Well, I tried a little bit. I don't know if I tried that hard. Derek was certainly firing away. We'll get back to that. He did pretty good, but not as well as these 9. The final table here with some very notable blasters and some unknown names. Honestly, I don't recognize some of these folks. So congratulations to the man who will have the banner. It looks like he had a plan. I think he planned out his picture for this banner. They ended up in a 3-way chop at the end, and Rashid Karim ended up getting the official W in the official banner. So congratulations. But the one who got the most money in this was Omar Bravo. And then Thomas TJ Morio also was a part of that top 3 chop. So the final payouts for those 3 were $136,440 for Rashid, 140. Did I say 46? It was 136 for Rashid. 146,295 for Omar Bravo, and 133,760 for Thomas Morio. So congratulations, those are fantastic paydays. Fantastic, especially if they got in on a day one. The rest of this final table: 4th place, Maverick U, 56,000. 5th place, Matthew Perez, 43,000. 6th place, Vic Oganishian, 34,500. Seventh place, Ruben Chappell, about 27,000. Eighth place, Ophir Attar, 20,700. And ninth place, Kwok 16,000. So congrats to that whole final table.
Nice work, everyone. Well, those are some wild, because Quack looks like he tied for fourth.
What? No, the four. What do you mean, the numbers on the side? I think that was their stack coming in or something.
No, T4. So I think T4 means tied for fourth.
But they, what? Oh, I think that's. Frank, you're gonna have to let us know what do those numbers mean? Is that the final, like what they ended up? Because you put them in order of their finish. Also, I think this was more the stacks going into the final table. To be honest, yeah, those are their stacks entering the final table.
And start a final table position.
Yep,
Got it.
That's what it was.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So here we go. And that's interesting. Is this Maverick U? Someone let me know. Is Maverick U the guy in the middle right? Because I've never known his first name, but if that's his name, that's pretty cool.
Middle, no, he's the guy in the middle left.
Middle left is Maverick U. Oh, okay. What's the name of the guy in the middle right? I play with him a lot. TJ?
TJ Mario, that's right.
That's him? Okay. I think this might be a pretty big score for him. So congrats, TJ. All right.
I know this because of Frank's pictures.
Yeah.
So good job.
All right. Frank says we should cover Otani's walk-off homer. Nicely done, but this ain't sports. All right. So, as far as our weekends go, I did not make the coverage. I did not make it very late into day 2 or day 3, but Derek here, he clawed his way into 42nd. Congratulations, Derek. Looks like you took home 33,8. So that's let's see. I believe you had 1 day 2 buy-in and then 2 day 1 bullets. So nice little profit, right? Nice little profit, not bad.
I think this is the problem with the quantums. It's so complicated. I feel like I cashed in this tournament 4 times.
I think you did.
Because it's like the day 1 cash and then day 2 I cashed but busted. Then I cashed again for the night flight on Sunday. And then I played on Monday. And then that's where I actually fired 2 day 2 bullets.
Oh, 2 day 2 bullets.
Yeah, and then
so that cuts into the profit a little, but you're still good.
I don't actually know. I think maybe I ended up with $1,000 or 1,200 or something like that profit, which is fine. It's fine.
Yeah, but I mean, it's harder. Basically, it's harder to figure out how much money you made in a quantum than it is to do your taxes sometimes, and it's sort of a problem. Like it shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, I actually have extra columns in my tracking spreadsheet specifically because of the quantums. It's like multiple buy-in amounts and then multiple cash out amounts. I have to do it specifically for the quantums. There's nothing else.
Yeah, they mess my records up so much too. It's like if I fire more than 1 day 1, it's like, all right, so I write down I cash this one so it looks like a min cash, and then when I start a new tournament for 0 buy-in or what, and then you do it the other. It's just weird.
It was interesting too because day 2A. I was pretty much like card dead, but I was able to just get a little bit out of line, fight for pots here and there, but it did really feel like I was cruising, even though I was fighting really hard. And then it just ended on this like really stupid hand where I could almost feel it coming. I was up against, one of the few people at the table that covered me.
Yeah, it's always like that, isn't it?
Yeah, raised with ace jack. He'd been, I don't want to say like, too out of line with anything. I didn't really see him flip over like too many hands that seemed crazy. He basically called ace 8 suited in position. The flop was like ace jack 5 with 1 spade. So I had top 2 and he had ace 8. So he was probably like 3 or 4% on the flop. But I bet he called. The turn was the queen of spades, and I decided just to go for the check jam here because I was very confident that he had an ace and he was going to bet it. He'd bet pretty big actually. He bet almost pot, and I was like, So then I didn't like insta ship it in, but I was like, well, I'm not going anywhere. So then I piled it in there. He was like, shit, I'm behind, and he tanked, and then he called with the flush draw basically. They backdoored, river to flush, and then bust me from the tournament, and I was very frustrated from that. It probably led to me a little bit playing spicy on my first bullet on day 2B. But thankfully, I just sort of tightened up, and played pretty solid on my second bullet, which was right after registration anyways.
Gotcha. Yeah, I actually wasn't even sure how much or if I was going to try and play this at all. I mentioned that last week. But on Friday, there really wasn't much else to do around, poker-wise around town. So I just ended up going down, firing a shot here or there. I entered the 400 flight, and I played all of basically. I really only played one hand. I sat down. I'm like, all right, whatever. We're just gonna just like hang out today. Very first hand, I'm sitting there and we're four-handed. Guy's still getting his chips. They're out in the middle, and the guy under the gun looks over. He makes sure, oh, you're all in dark. I'm gonna call. I'm gonna call. So the guy pulls his chips back. Right. It's kind of standard player in the big blind. And so the under the gun, he raises. He's a funny guy. You played with him. I can't remember his name, unfortunately. I think I said his name really wrong once, and he yelled at me. So won't try. He so he opens, and it's like this is like level 1 or level 2 or something. I think I got there on time. So he opens like 600, 700, right? 700. I call the guy who under on the button. He makes it 3,000 now, and it's like, oh geez, he actually was gonna go all in. What the heck? So under the gun calls, and you know me. I mean, it's level 1, hand 1. Reg is open. Let's go. I got 3-5 of clubs, so I call. The flop is 4, 6, 10. 2 clubs. So, I'm going to be all in. I'm like,
Yeah.
I wonder, should I just keep calling or should I ship it in? And it doesn't matter because the big blind just jams for 37K.
Well, so silly, some of these day ones.
So he just jams for 37K. We all know what he has, a pair bigger than tens. So I'm like, whatever. It's the first hand I call. And I brick. His jacks win. And I actually still had 200 chips left because he was the big blind with an ante. So the next hand I get it in with like ace 3 against like queen 6 and I don't know, like jack 4 or something, and I lose. Whatever. So then I go and I'm like, all right, whatever. If I'm gonna lose like this today, I'm gonna go play the $200 flight. Then I can just go all in multiple times for the same price. It's gonna be fun. I don't even want to play this thing. So I go over there and I run it up pretty good, and I bag it up there, and I'm like, damn it, now I've got to stay. I actually wanted to go. Honestly, this weekend up at the Venetian, they were having a 200K that ended on Sunday, and they overlaid by like 24,000 or so because they were competing with the World Series circuit main event happening at the Horseshoe, and they just didn't get the numbers. So I really kind of wanted to go up to that, but unfortunately I bagged for day 2A. So yeah, I came in, and doing that once again, I really like the opening event, the way they did they adjusted the quantum to have the lower buy-in, because I came in with a half a starring stack, 33 big blinds or whatever. Not really a problem. The biggest problem was that I'm sitting at my table watching people come in. There were 2 or 3 seats at my table that were smaller stacks that got taken off, so it was like a pretty empty table at first. And then the champ makes his triumphant return. Sammy comes rolling into my table. I got to play with Mr. Sammy Beishahead. Hopefully you're watching, Sammy. So you ruined my nice, soft, easy table, but it's all right. We were at opposite ends of the table. We behaved. And, I was able to run that 92,000 or whatever up fine to like 250 or whatever, and then our table broke and bounced around, and then I got to a new table. Was just introduced myself. It was going to be a really fun table. Saw a guy I knew, this stand-up comedian type dude I knew from a home game. This other guy was chatty. We were having a great time. Looked down at my first hand. It's jacks. And if you've been watching the show for a while, you know that means I'm out, because it just doesn't work for me in these spots. Has not been working.
Unless it's in hand with me.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Well, no, I mean, I don't need jacks against you. It could be jacks 8, and then you're out. You're out. But it was jacks, and the small blind had ace queen and decided they wanted to play for it all, so I lost. It was like, I don't remember. It was probably like a 500K pot or something, whatever. It was a 40 big blind pot. That's what I remember. So I had around 20 big blinds. So that was it. I was out. What am I going to do? But I did go over to Commerce after that, and I will hold the rest of my weekend story until you're done with yours and we switch gears and go to Commerce. So that was your day, the beginning of your day 2B. Spicy,
so
fired hard, and then the second bullet, what did we do?
Yeah, so the second bullet just basically made it through. I don't want to say there was any muss or fuss. Probably got like 3 or 4 big hands somewhere in the middle that, basically buoyed my stack. Ended up going through with like 1.8 or whatever that was. So that was about average, I guess. So it was good. Day 3 was really interesting. Like, I was again extremely card dead, and I basically just stayed at exactly the average. I was able to just scrape pots and stay at exactly the average for hours. It was like pretty nuts. And I was at a table with Sammy and Mike Ong, which we're gonna have a little story about.
Yep.
in a
We
second.
have video, actually.
We have video
Yeah.
of it. But I got moved to a new table, and a bunch of players I didn't recognize, and I should have known, what was probably going to happen from that. So nothing was really going on for, a couple of orbits for me. I was just pretty card dead, raising here, trying to see bet flops and take it down. Then I finally get dealt ace king of diamonds on the button.
Oh, that's terrible
Um,
news. We know you can't win with ace king. I remember what I did to you
oh
last time
yeah,
you had ace king.
yeah. Maybe I should just fold it a pre would have saved some chips. Um, I think in the hand I probably had about 3 mil. The player under the gun who raised had like 2.5 or 2.4, and then a caller in the middle had somewhere around like 1.8-ish or so. Um, Undergun raises, guy calls, and then I three bet to 800K. So basically, the blinds were 50K, 100K. He made a 200K, call 200K. I raised to 800K. They both called, and I was like, what? Like, what are you calling with? I'm like, does one of you have aces, right? I just didn't know what was going on because it was like a third of the under the gun stack, and then it was half of the other guy stack. Like, what are you guys trying to do with this hand? The flop comes queen, jack, heart, heart, and then like a eight or something. Um, so I decide that I can't bet this because I have no idea what the ranges are, but queens and jacks are definitely in that range. Maybe somebody, like under the gun at ace queen of spades. There's all these hands. So I decided just to check, and that was probably a mistake. I probably should have just jammed and kind of went for it. Um, so the turn was some low card like a three. Uh, Under the gun checks, and then the middle guy just ships, and I was like, well, okay, I fold. So I folded, and then the under the gun guy tanks and tanks and tanks, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're tanking with. Like, I don't know what matches this board that you're tanking with. Are you thinking of calling with a jack? And what jack would you possibly have? So eventually he calls. He has pocket fives, and the other guy had pocket nines. And it's just like, what are we supposed to do? And so I basically just punted 800K on one hand like that, which was just so silly. I was actually able to get it back. I ended up with the nines guy, ended up winning a flip king queen against his jacks. He raised a button. I shipped the small blind. Ended up winning a flip there, and then my bust out hand happened, and this is just really dumb. Fold to me in my small blind. I limp with 10-8 offsuit. Guy in the big blind was actually like I call him like a decent reg. He raises. I call. It's pretty standard. The flop comes eight. 7, 5. So I have top pair, no flush or anything with rainbow. I check. He bets about a third pot. Um, so I decided to go for the check raise here. I know like we're pretty deep in the tournament, but I was at like 22 BPs at this point. I wasn't, really kind of deep enough to kind of mess around, and there's going to be absolutely no good cards to come. So it was a decision behind like a clickback or a committing bet, or maybe even just a ship. A ship probably would have also been fine. Also a call would have been fine. I think all the options would have been fine except for a fold. So I did decide to go for a committing raise, and I basically put in like a huge raise. It was like 6x, and it was like, basically like 80% of my stack. He ended up just insta shipping, and I was like, great, what the fuck? That he ran into aces, like kings. What did he have a set of something? So I just kind of side call, and he has 9-6 of diamonds, and he flopped a straight.
I'm pretty
And it's
partial
just,
to that 9-6 suited myself, so I understand. But yeah,
yeah, I mean, like raising though out of the big blind, like I know we don't talk strategy on the pod, but basically, if you are raising 9-6 of diamonds out of the big blind, one of two things is happening. Either you're raising too many hands, or if you're actually raising the appropriate number or the right percentage of hands, like having 9-6 in that raising range doesn't make any sense. Like how are you basically constructing your raising range? Like what are
yeah.
you calling then?
Put more
Is
junk
it
in
are
it.
you calling
Yeah.
are you calling 9-6 off? Are you calling ace queen? Like what are you calling? So it doesn't make any. I mean, if he had actually just called and the pot didn't get bloated, I might have been able to kind of get away. I would have been obviously crippled, but anyways, that was the buzz on hand. Super annoying. I was really frustrated by it. It's like all the possible perfect storm of things had to happen. Like he had to
Yeah.
decide to raise 9-6 of diamonds. He had to have flopped a straight. I had to have flopped top pair, and I had to have been at a shallow enough stack depth to go with it.
Hmm.
Right. So all those things happened, and it was really
That
annoying.
that
It felt like I was
happens.
playing.
That feels like that happens so often. The last couple weeks, it feels like so many hands. It's been like you know, typically I end up taking the aggressive action or something, and then it's like the one card. It's like the two outer in the deck that costs me a massive amount of more chips. It's like if that card doesn't
Yeah.
come, that particular card, like if it could be any card in the deck but a six or whatever, any card in the deck but the last two tens. If that card doesn't come, I either lose no more chips or I win the pot.
Right.
But it just happens to be that one, and it's
Yes.
like it's frustrating. It's like, man, it's like that's just as unlucky as if you had top set and they hit a gut shot because it's the same
Right.
thing. It's the exact same thing. It's like they had nothing and they hit their straight and you hit your top, the over card,
Right.
the ace pair or something, or they had, you weren't gonna do a thing, but now the perfect bluff card comes out or something, and it's just like the only one. It's the same. It's the
Yeah.
exact same thing because it costs you
Yeah.
chips.
The bad beat just came on the flop instead of the river. That's all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Um,
that was not the only thing, though, that happened at your table. So you had an allusion there to a little bit of excitement with you and Sammy and Mike. I'm not sure if we're going to play the video after all or not. He shows a lot of faces in it. I hear that's like not really cool. But
yeah.
let me bring up the response to your tweet here. So you start out with this tweet asking a rules question. It seems like a kind of standard, innocent rules question. But man, Savage came out with the needles.
It was funny. It was. I mean, he insta responded with just like a normal response, and I don't know what happened between like then and then the next morning. But the next morning, I woke up and I saw that. And I think it was probably just because all the like, it wasn't actually all the people in the thread, but like 80% of the people in there were just like call, 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 call,
Yep.
and he's just like, this seems obvious to everyone. So why does Derek of all people
Yeah. He's like, man,
question
I
me?
thought Derek was smart. This has got to be a troll. He's like, I
And
might have to reevaluate. So tell us
I
the
was like,
story though. Why did you put this in the chat? Why did you what
so
prompted this?
basically what happened was, player, shipped whatever I said it was like 1 point or 160K. Is that right? Or 16? What was it?
Uh,
No, can you
the
pull up,
number?
pull up the, yeah,
Oh,
what
your
did I
question
say?
130. Jams 130.
Jams 130. That's right. So he jammed 130. Um, and then another player flipped into 100K chips to call. And I looked at it and I was like, hmm. And I didn't say anything. But then two players who weren't in the hand immediately said, that's a raise. And then Sammy's like, no, that's a call. And then Mike's like, no, that's a call.
Let's remind
Um,
everyone, Sammy, professional poker dealer.
yeah. And as soon as Sammy speaks up, and especially the way he was saying it, he was so confident. I was like, okay, it's a call. And I was like, I don't know why it's a call, but it's a call. um, it's so interesting because like we ended up calling the floor over. He confirmed it was a call, but then Mike was like, hey, maybe we should ask Savage. You can probably he'll probably actually reply to you. And I was like, okay, so I'll put it up on Twitter. I want to say that even though this is clearly a call and it's the one chip rule, I'm gonna say that it's like
Well, it's not
confusing
the
and it's a
one
little.
chip rule; it's the oversized chip rule, I think,
Oh,
or
it's the oversized
or
chip
something
rule.
like
Oh
that.
yeah, that's
Yeah. Someone
yeah,
Adam was nice enough to cut out the exact part of the rule.
yeah.
Multiple chip betting. Yep. So.
So I think that the issue here that's confusing and it should be obvious to everyone, right, is that the 200K was a legit raise, right? That's actually like a
Mm-hmm.
qualified raise over the 130. So that's why it's a little bit confusing because usually when you put in any amount that is enough for a raise, it's a raise. But there's a very specific rule that is like this, the multiple chip betting rule. It's basically, and even when I asked Sammy to the table, I was like, well, what's the exact like rule? And he
Oh,
said he wasn't like sure.
oh,
He actually said he wasn't
I could
sure.
have told you that, man. You
Yeah,
should
yeah,
just
because
put
you,
me
because
on.
you, because you're a rules nerd. But I think Matt Savage, and then there's another poster on my thread that explained it really well. It's like basically if one of the chips is not enough for a raise, then it's not a raise.
um, I don't know if that's the right way to word it.
I mean that was the thing that made me understand it the most. That was like basically what Savage had
If
said.
one of the chips is not enough for a raise, because what do you
So
mean, like
basically, it's
over and
like
above?
if
Because
he
it's if one of the chips isn't enough. All right. Well, go ahead. What is your explanation there?
So I mean that's it. So yeah, there it is. It's a call. If you remove one of the two chips, it's less than a call amount, so it's a
Right.
call.
That's it. Yeah. It's that. It's if every chip in the pile is necessary to make the call, then it's a call. That's kind of how it goes. Right.
But only if it's two chips.
No, I mean I don't know if you can do it with more than that or with few.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do it with a different number of chips, but if it's possible, the rule is simply that if there is any chip you could remove and it's still a call, now you have to do the math to see if it's a raise.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So, so basically, so now it's a little bit even less so than the guy actually one of the guys who strongly proclaimed that it was a raise. Sammy was able to convince him to bet on it, and Sammy actually was really nice to him and only bet $100.
Yeah.
So the guy lost $100. But it was interesting because like after I like read all of this, somebody else said something interesting in the thread. He said basically at the 300, 600 level, if somebody makes it 1200 and then somebody just calls with two 1K chips, it's a call. And I was like, yeah, that's right. I've seen that a million times.
Yep.
Um, so I think that I just had a brain fart for some reason. It was like an all-in spot, which is no different than just a
I
raise,
think that's
right?
actually
It's just an
Savage
all-in spot.
that
What's
said
that?
that. I think Savage actually says that, but yep.
Oh, did he?
I think it
Oh,
might
yeah.
have been him.
Oh, no. So basically that was it. I think I had not only like a brain fart, but the other part of it is I never really thought too deeply about that 300, 600 scenario. Like the 300,
Mm-hmm.
600, somebody throws in two 1K chips, it's just a call. I don't think I've ever really just thought about why. It was just something that was just, and I think Fausto nailed it in the group chat where first he roasted me for not knowing. Then he said you probably instinctively knew and just never thought about it. And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's right, I never thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think I was just confused. But now I'm glad this happened because now I'm actually very crystal clear in the rule. I was not crystal clear in the rule before.
All right. So this thread got us to thinking, what other rules does Derek not know? You know, the first time we had Kevin on, we played a little game and we asked him some very specific questions about the TDA rules, and man, he nailed it. He almost could
He nailed it.
could almost say the number of the rule, and he was killing it. But you know, I kind of took it for granted that maybe Derek also knew the rules pretty well. You know, maybe not as well as I do, definitely not as well as Kevin, but.
Absolutely
Apparently,
not.
yeah. Apparently, that's not the case. So let's play. I mean, I wish we had a graph. This would be a great time to have a little graphic, like quiz Derek. What is Derek?
Yeah.
Something like that. But I thought we'd throw a couple rules questions at Derek and see if he could see if
All right,
there's money
I'm
to be
ready.
won off him. So first
Let's
off, this one's a little bit of a callback. So you have to be honest if you remember. Do you
Okay.
remember Negreanu's whole stink that he raised last World Series about betting and mucking hands and stuff like that and paying attention? Because if you remember, the right answer is in there.
I vaguely remember that there was a discussion about it, and I actually joined in a discussion. Yes, but I don't remember exactly what it was.
You don't remember what the actual rule is? Okay, so here's the situation, right? So you're sitting in seat 1.
Mhm.
Okay. There's a player in seat 9, and there's another player in like seat 7 or something, right? You open, or you're the big blind, so you're in the hand. Comes around, someone else like bets. Say
Wait,
that
I'm in the big blind, or I opened under the gun.
either one. You're in the pot is the point. All that matters is that you're in the pot.
Oh, I'm in the pot.
Say you
limp.
limp. You either limped or you're in the big blind, just for easy. Let's call yourself. Let's say you're in the big blind. That's the easiest thing. You're in the
I
big
just
blind.
called.
Someone opened.
Okay.
Someone opened, and the 9 seat raises. Okay.
Mhm.
And now the let's say the 7 seat folds out a turn. Okay.
Mhm.
Say the 7 seat folds out a turn. You it happens super fast, right? You don't even really notice. You're in your headphones. You're not even watching. You look up, and now the 9 seat mucks his hand. Thinks he won the pot. Starts pulling the chips. What happens?
Okay, wait. I think I lost you on the action. So I bet.
So let's just say you're the big blind. It's easy. You're the big blind.
Okay, so but I'm seat 1.
Yep.
I'm big blind.
Yep.
So that means I checked.
No, you're big blind. This is pre-flop. You're big blind.
Oh,
Pre-flop.
pre-flop.
Yeah, let's just call it pre-flop. You're big blind. Okay.
Okay.
You get out your cards. You got your headphones. You're texting a bad beat to us. You're not paying much attention. Comes around. Someone over there opens, or maybe even not. Let's just say the button opens.
Okay, button opens.
Okay. Small blind folds. Button can't see you well because you're in seat 1, and you're like, you're still texting. You got your head down. Button thinks he wins. He folds his cards. He throws them over across the table into the muck. You still have your hand. You look up, and you're like, what happened? What happens? What do you win? How many chips do you win? How many chips do you win? Does the
I do remember the discussion. I had no idea. I had no idea what the final answer was, and I don't remember at all.
Well, what do you think should happen? The button says, "Hey, wait, no, give me my cards back. I didn't know he was in."
This kind of feels like one of those weird answers that it's not intuitive, where it's like you split the pot or something. I think my instinctive thing would have been to say that I get awarded the pot because he folded his hand.
Okay. Does the pot? How big is the pot though? So, he
So the
opened to two
pot,
big blinds.
so basically the pot right now is 4.5 big blinds, right? Small big blind ante, and then his two big blinds,
Right.
right?
Correct.
Um, so basically, I think that he gets his two back, and then I get the small blind and the big blind. But I think my instinctive first reaction would have been he just loses the pot because he mucked his hand.
Okay, so you would have just screwed yourself out of chips if they had asked you for your ruling. No, he doesn't get his two chips back. You can't just raise two, fold, and then get your two back. He pushed the small blind out. That's not fair.
I think the only reason why I'm saying that is because I kind of vaguely remember that there was something counterintuitive about the answer. But okay, let's just say that that didn't happen. Like that thing that if you just asked me and this was like a brand new situation, I would just say that his hand is dead and I just get the pot.
Okay, so you think you would get the 4.5 big blinds.
4.5 big blinds. Yeah.
Right. So that is what Daniel thought last last World Series as well. He thought that, hey, that guy's not paying attention. I deserve his extra blinds,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Not the case. Actually, well, first off, what should happen is the dealer should make every effort to be paying attention and to grab those cards and keep them from hitting the muck. That is what's literally in the rules. Hold on, let me quick try and find it. I have the rules up right here. Let's see, mucking. Let me see if I can find it real quick. To protect. It might not be easy to do. The rules say, literally call out the dealer should try and protect that hand from the muck, and the floor should be called. Because obviously, this could be a very easy way to dump chips to someone, right? So the floor needs to be able to tell, like, hey, you didn't just raise the other guys out of the pot and then fold to give your friend chips, right? But if they're in the muck, unretrievable, you do win the pot, but the rule is that you're only going to win the one big blind. The rest of the raise, the larger amount, goes back to the raiser. So that's kind of a weird one. It's a very weird one, and that's why it was extremely hot topic.
So is it that he takes one big blind back and I get the rest?
Right. So like whatever would have been a call for him, that's what you win.
Yeah. So this is what I mean. I remember vaguely that there was some weird thing where I was like, what the F? And I was like, okay, that's so obscure. But okay, yes.
Yep. And if you want to go back, for those of you who are more interested, do a search on Savage's tweets or Negreanu's tweets. Actually, they may have even written an article about it, honestly, on one of those poker site, Poker.org or something. The Savage had a lot of rationale for like how this helps prevent a really bad feel bads and how it helps prevent cheating and angling, because the other side of it is, hey, what if you, Derek, when you get your cards, you kind of hide them in a weird way and you act like you folded, right? You don't want there to be an angle for you to make him think he has won the pot and then say, haha, I win the pot, give me all those chips, right? Especially if it's like an all-in or something.
Yeah, I think Larry actually, so this happened on my day 2B table, where this woman in the to my left basically was in a 9 seat, was kind of, she has like a little walker thing, and she was just sort of sits like this, and it's kind of hard to see it whether or not she has cards.
Yeah.
And two people folded, and we had to stop the action, and Larry came over and he started saying to her something like, because you caused two people to fold. I thought that he was going to actually like kill her hand. But then he like backed away from it and didn't do it. But this is sort of to the same vein where I don't know. There's a line to be drawn, right? So I think he made a good judgment call that obviously she wasn't doing anything intentional. She wasn't trying to angle anybody. But that there should be some ramifications for obscuring your cards and having people or basically just doing anything that might affect the action behind you.
Yep, absolutely. And Larry is like the best, right? Because I'm sure he can say something like, okay, I'm here all day, so I warned you, I've told you the correct way to avoid this. If you do it again, I'm gonna penalize you as though it were intentional, right?
Yeah, that first table, man, he was over at our table like 10
Oh boy, that's such a nightmare.
It was chaotic, but it was fine. I actually texted him I was like, this table is chaotic good. Because it was like nobody like mean or bad. It was
okay.
everyone was just,
they were
like,
just
extremely
sloppy
chaotic.
as can be, and just like
Everyone was just It's just chaotic is a good word for it. I just don't think I could say.
No, I saw the players you were saying you were with. It makes sense. It makes sense, but it was strange. Um, all right, so let's see here. I did not prep, so I'm trying to scan the rules for another good one. Let me see here. We have a couple more about the chips, and here's the multiple chip betting. That was the rule 45. Um, let's see. I don't think I want to ask you any of the procedural ones. They're kind of lame and pedantic. What about? Well, I'm sure you know this one, but this is a good one for everyone else to know for sure.
Yep.
Um, so you are you're in the big blind again, right? Player opens to 100K
Pre-flop.
pre-flop. Yep.
Mhm.
Next player jams all in. So blinds are 50K. Okay.
Mhm.
Next player jams all in for 190K. Or
Mhm.
no, I'm sorry, 100. So if they're 50, 140K.
Mhm.
All right. Everyone folds to you. There's the guy who opens still. Can the opener raise over that 140K?
So the blind is 50K,
Yep.
and he raised to 100K,
Right.
and then the guy made it 140. So
Right.
it's no, he can't because it's 40K more. So he needs to make it 50K more. Yeah.
Correct.
So
Correct.
at 150, then he can raise.
Yep. So it's a good thing. So for the folks out there, this can get confusing because the rule for what makes a raise if you accidentally put too many chips out is different than the rule for what opens the action when someone jams in, right? So that's important to know. If someone jams all in, it must be the full raise in order to reopen action. If somebody just puts too many chips out, half or more, you have to do a min raise.
Yep. And this is again related to the thing we were talking about earlier. When somebody throws out two 100K chips, it's technically enough for a raise, but it's because of that multi-chip rule. It's just an exception, and I don't think it's as obvious as people are making it out to be. It's just something that you sort of remember, and see. So, anyways, yeah.
Right. Exactly. And then one last one that is good for people to know because it's a pet peeve. And now this one's a little more sticky because it's not as hard and fast. But if there's someone at your table, real table talker, real Jamie Gold kind of guy who sits there and is staring at you're in the blinds, and the guy keeps saying like, "If you jam, I'll call. If you jam, I'll call. If you jam, I'll call you, man." And then you jam. Does he have to call?
Mm, no. Okay. So basically, he is still to act. Let's just say we're heads up. He's still to act.
Yeah. Yep. Say it's the blinds, and you're in the small, and you're thinking about it.
So I think the only thing that's binding is if you like physically do an action. I don't think verbal counts. So I'm going to say that he doesn't have to call.
Right. So that's why I said it's not quite as cut and dry as the other ones, but this one is written in the rules, so there are people have talked about and thought about it. This is actually at the TD's discretion. So there
sounds like a
are
right thing,
enough, yeah, but it's literally written in there that it's not like the first rule of the TDA rules are everything's at the TD's discretion, right? This is specifically in here that conditional statements of future actions are strongly discouraged, and at a tournament director's discretion, they may be binding or penalized. So if you do that, and it's kind of the same thing for if you say bet or raise before the other person's done betting, it's up to the TD how to handle that. But it's specifically written in here, which to me says, hey, if you're trying to be Jamie Gold and you talk too much like that and you say that all the time, like the second or third time that Larry comes by and hears you're saying that, he's going to say you're bound to it and you're going to do it. That's my way of reading this personally. If I were the TD, that's how I would handle it. Like, look, I told you not to do that or it would be binding. You said it again, it's binding. You're calling. That's basically what I would say. But
I mean, specifically the statement that you just said, which is if you jam, I will call. I almost feel like that's the gray area of like table talk, competition. I don't think it's too angle shooty. And it's basically him literally. It seems very face up in terms of its statement.
yeah,
Like
but
you
what
have
if
to
it's
either.
multi-way now?
Oh, multi-way, that's absolutely
Yeah.
unacceptable.
What if it's
But heads up.
multi-way and like there's a guy in between you and you say
No, no.
and you
Oh, yeah,
say
yeah.
yeah,
No,
same thing.
absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah.
You cannot. So in that case, though, you're affecting somebody else's action.
Yeah,
But
so-
in a heads up situation, yeah.
So do you
So
if you're the floor, do you say that's binding or you say you're penalized?
in a heads up situation,
No. If there's multi-way now or
A multi-way.
let's say it's multi-way and you come over that someone says, hey, this guy won't, he keeps talking about the hand. He says, if
I
you do
think
this,
I
I'll do
think it
that.
would be both. I think it would be both binding and penalized.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, important thing to, if someone starts doing that sort of thing, make sure you figure out what your tournament director, how he's feeling and what his,
Right.
what his
Right.
opinions are.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
It,
specifically
it
written.
just feels like one of those like face up sort of I don't know, like statements. It's like literally just challenging you to whether I'm lying
Like,
or not. And that just
yeah,
seems so pure. It just seems so pure with
like it's,
table talk,
yeah,
right?
yeah. It's not tricky, really. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like
Right.
tricky. It's like,
Right.
I may or may not be lying to you, but
Right.
I'm not lying to you in a way that you don't know. I'm not trying to be
Yeah.
slick. I'm just literally just saying,
I
yeah.
I feel like that's like the most fundamental, head game that you can play in poker, and it seems pure. It just
Yeah.
seems very pure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally wish we could talk more at the table,
Right.
obviously,
Yeah.
but the problem
Of
is
course.
like when you do draw lines, like it's just,
Yeah.
you can't train the players or the floor to stay within bounds, right? All right.
Right.
All right. Well, that's enough of that for now.
Oh, that
You
wasn't
did
so hard.
okay. You did
I thought
okay.
you were really gonna grill me. I thought you were gonna bring in some like super obscure
I might
points
turn
and
this.
drill
I
down
might turn this into a weekly segment. We might hit you with one a week, and I'll
You
do
know
a
what?
little more research.
Let's do it. Let's
You
do it
know,
because I can learn. I
yeah.
can learn the D-Day rulebook this
I'll
way.
do a little bit more research. Like I said, I didn't have time to scour the rule book. The only one I really think of was the one from before, which I had to hope you didn't remember. So,
Yeah, and you have a lot of fun with this, anyways.
yep, absolutely. I love digging into the rules. All right. So let's forget about rules. Let's talk about something more fun, man. So if you recall, before Kevin left the Gardens, he announced a spring tournament schedule, right? Spring special. And I think it was like 2 weeks long or 2.5 weeks long. We were stoked. It was going to fill the gap between winning on the green and the World Series circuit, right? Well, unfortunately, when he left, it looked like they kind of pulled that back, but they did re-announce it. And unfortunately, it is for a shorter amount of time, but fortunately, it does exist. So let's take a look. We have the schedule here now. SoCal Spring 2025. They didn't even write special on the website anymore. It starts on April 16th, and it goes through the 20th. So let me just take a quick look. The bike schedule. So the 16th, I'm going to guess so that is the last day of the Mega Millions final. That is the day of the final survivor over the Mega Millions. So it literally starts the last day of that. It goes till 420. Ha ha ha. Now, the World Series circuit does not start until May 8th. So we will have a gap. Luckily, I already have a trip planned. Go to Vegas, see some shows, and hopefully play a little cash. So, I'm set. But for the rest of you, you're going to have a little LA series vacation here between the 20th, 420, and the May 8th. So just so you know. But let's take a look at the schedule because it's kind of unique. It's definitely unique. Have you had a chance to look at this very closely yet, Derek?
I have not, but now I'm seeing it. That is an interesting column there
Interesting,
with the
isn't it?
added. Oh God, yeah.
Added to the pot, right? So these are all 1 days, which I'm disappointed in. I'm pretty sure Kevin's original idea was going to have their typical kind of 3-day 1K buy-in, 500K guarantee, or whatever. I'm a little shocked they're not still running it. They have decent, not amazingly experienced, but like decently experienced floors over there. I think they probably could run events. I don't know why they wouldn't. But it looks like they're sticking to just 1 days, trying to keep it small. We haven't had a lot of reports of how things are going over there since in the last few weeks. I think just Jeremy's been over there like once, didn't give us a big report, and I haven't really heard a lot of feedback from other folks on how things are going down there. So I will try and make it down there for at least one of these things so that I can get a feel for how the Gardens is, post Cabin here. But let's take a look at the schedule.
When we had Kevin on the show, the way he was describing the training that he does, it almost just feels like he's imparted so much information on everyone that they would have absorbed most of it and should be able to carry on his legacy.
That's why I was surprised. Guys down there, like I'm pretty sure he was training like James and the other guy. Sorry, I forgot your name. And I feel like they were coming along, so I'm a little surprised.
Yeah. I mean, definitely don't pull a Commerce and go without a TD for too long, but I think they should be okay.
Yeah. So on Wednesday the 16th, they're going to start off with a no limit hold'em bounty, regular bounty tournament, $50 bounties. So kind of like the regular weekly tournament, except the buy-in's doubled and the guarantee is, I think their guarantee is usually only $10K for that. for their like $130 buy-in. So it's a $50,000 guarantee with a $360 buy-in on a Wednesday. So that's fun. And there is this column you mentioned, added to the pot, 10,000 added. So to me, I mean, does that mean that if they miss the guarantee, it will be 60,000, or does that mean that if they miss the guarantee, they will still add at least 10,000? I'm unsure about that. So, like, say it gets to 45,000, does that mean it's going to be a 55,000?
Yeah, I mean, if we take this at face value, this should be technically a 60K
Right. Yeah. If you take it at face
already.
value, or if we just make sure we hit the guarantees, right? Because there's no other way to read that, right? Other than if we put that prize pool to 60,000, then they just add 10K. It's 70,000, right?
I mean, I hope they wouldn't put it in there because you should cover the guarantee anyway, because it's a guarantee. You don't need to tell us you're going to cover the 10K.
Right.
You should cover the
Exactly.
10K.
Exactly.
I hope that that's not what it means, and it just should just be added. But maybe somebody from Gardens can verify it.
Yeah, and we'll find out as soon as we can. Hopefully, the next time somebody goes down there, maybe you guys can get us a little info.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is very intriguing. The way I see this for these ones that are 10K added, 5K added, this kind of just feels like rake-free tournaments to me. Because
That's true.
if you hit these numbers, I am thinking if you hit these numbers, it's pretty much then the added
Yeah.
is just more or less the rake because
Yeah, it's like a 10K overlay,
yeah.
or 20, for each one,
Yes, let me
basically.
take a look. If I click on the schedule here, this first one has a $36, 30, 40, 50, wow, $60 rake. That feels a little high, actually, for the Gardens. I wonder if they increased the rakes and $50 out of 250. All right, guys, I'm not, I can't verify yet. I didn't research. My apologies, but it looks like they upped the rake by a couple percentages on these tournaments as opposed to before. So that's interesting, which is good because they're adding money to the pot. So maybe they did that specifically because of this added to the pot.
Oh, these are trophy events, huh? So it's going to be that, nice Superman looking
Oh,
icicle thing,
okay,
right?
okay.
I'm asking.
I don't know. They were always
Mm.
doing the crystal trophies, most recently, right, with Kevin.
Mm.
But yeah, basically, this is a lot of rake back. It's a lot of good, and then so that means that this event here on Saturday, right, the No Limit Hold'em Deep Stack for $500 buy-in has a 20K added. So we're talking a prize pool of 100,000, really 120 guarantee. So this smashes, we just get an extra 20K in, and yeah, so I feel like this is giving us the rake back. That's the way I feel,
Mm.
and that's good. That's good. Now the downside would be is if I'm noticing the rake looks high and I'm okay with it because they're giving us this money back. If they kept the rake high for future events and didn't give us the money back, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. We'll have to watch that.
Yeah, it seems complicated and confusing, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, because I love the idea of added tournaments. I always felt like instead of guarantees, you should just do more addeds. But I understand you have to have a number for people to get excited about.
Yeah. I hope I'm not tempted into this Saturday one day because I just run bad at the Gardens and I don't like Mondays. But it is 500, so it keeps a little bit of the riffraff out. So we'll
Well,
have
you
to see.
better
If
you you
it's a
better
crystal
hope
trophy, man.
you better hope that it's not like some of the folks who play at the Gardens have been doing really well at Commerce in their dailies since Kevin moved. So you better hope it's not just a movement. It was actually just the TD. Because now, if you run bad at Commerce and then you start running good at the Gardens, you could be in trouble.
I'm already running pretty bad at the Commerce, so we'll see.
All right. Okay, so that is the schedule. There it is. They've got a 50K guarantee on Wednesday, a 25K guarantee on Thursday, 50K again on Friday, and then another 25K on Friday. And then the 100K on Saturday and a 50K bounty, super bounty, happening on Sunday. And it's just the 1 week long, and then it's back to the regularly scheduled programming. So interesting indeed. All right. So as I said, after that, there's a week off, and then is it just 1 week off? 424. It might be 5/8 a Thursday. I think it's actually a week and a half off. And then we are in the circuit. And we didn't look too close at the circuit, but let's do that now. I think I feel like it's easier to read on the World Series site itself. So
Actually, no. If you there's a PDF if you go up.
there is. I didn't see one this time.
Yeah, just go up a little bit. It's like right under the title,
Right under.
on the top of the.
I don't. I see
Actually,
nothing.
no.
I don't see it.
Yeah, it's like plain text.
Oh, like it doesn't.
Yeah. Oh wait, what? Can
Yeah.
you hit refresh?
I just did.
You don't have it. What the heck? I literally have it on mine.
Oh,
Here, you know what?
there. Yep. Yeah, why don't they make it blue? All right. I got it.
Okay.
All right. So, once again, we talked about this, Kevin. The tune-up package. Those are very tempting, very cool. I wish I could play them, but they're on Thursday and it's really far away. Single table satellites will be happening the whole time. That's awesome. But man, housewarming, super stoked. Gonna be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
Little weird that it starts on Friday, not Thursday, because why not have 6 flights? Why only 4? But okay. We're just gonna have to pack them.
I guess I wanted to make room for that tune-up.
No, the tune-up was just added. Like they announced this other stuff beforehand. Like,
Mm.
but you know what's gonna help a lot is that when I was there this weekend playing the dailies, hanging out with Kevin and the guys, registration was a breeze. No longer do
Nice.
we have to wait the 2.5, 3.5 minutes when you register with cash to get verified. Kevin
So
was.
they just removed it.
That's what it
The
appears.
ver-
Yeah, that's what it appears.
Oh,
It appears
nice
that
job.
Kevin was just able to explain the rules to them or explain the way the commission works because he's dealt with them a lot. And I guess they just believed him. But that's a good
I
sign.
mean, yeah,
That's a great
yeah,
sign. If he
yeah.
brings his knowledge and they believe him as they should, this is awesome. There's,
I mean, the evidence should have been that no one else does such a thing. So, but anyways, I'm glad that Kevin was able to get it through.
yeah. So that is going to help a ton. I don't know about you, but that's probably, if I don't bag early, that's probably going to double my buy-ins.
Yeah.
So,
I mean that you know what, like, yeah, I hate like talking about the Commerce, but when I went from the LAPC to the bike, I walked into this newly remodeled casino that smells like I'm in a Vegas casino. Walk in, just walk up to the cage, drop $200, whatever it was. They just hand me my slip. I just walk in. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Uh, just comfortable seats, everything. Just I don't know. It's just like air conditioning. Everything's just like nice. It's not the harsh lighting.
Yep.
It's not old. Like the bathrooms are all like new and not like old.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just and now they have a freaking dim sum cart. By the way, I'm getting like this belly, so I have to
From the
stop
dim
visiting.
sum?
I think it's from the dim sum because I'm just constantly eating dim sum because I'm there.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's pretty dramatic. It's pretty dramatic the experience that you get at the
Yeah,
bike
I
these
mean,
days.
I love the ballroom, and I don't think the bathrooms by the ballroom are that bad. The rest of them are terrible. I don't think the ones up by the ballroom are too bad. But yeah, going to the bike, they've been running their series great. Things have been pretty smooth, except for that typo and that first quantum day one sheet payout thing. But that's one thing. Things have been running great. We did have a couple small complaints here and there about but they're very small. Nothing that's lingered, nothing that's big. Everything's felt smooth. It's been really enjoyable. Been a really good series so far. So hopefully we're back at that though. We got Kevin in the seat. Hopefully we're back at it. So
Yeah, I'm so excited that Kevin is just gonna just cleaning up the operational stuff, like me being able to walk in and not have to go to the other cage to get chips before I go up there,
yeah.
and then to even get up there and there's no more chips only line. Like that's what was happening before.
Yep.
So that I was waiting anyway.
Yeah.
Just not having that is already like a 50% increase in my satisfaction.
And it'll be interesting what else if he can make some other logistics changes. So some other stuff he
Yeah.
does, right? He's introduced a more random breaking order to the tables. It's still roughly in a way that's going to help make the tournament more efficient to run, but like it's a little bit more random. And
Nice.
for some of the smaller events, like he said, he does break them a little bit in he does kind of try and leave them in a little more of a staggered pattern when there's fewer people around, that kind of stuff. So all this stuff's going to be cool. Hopefully this means we won't have awkward stuff where, you get up in the middle of a level and walk your final table 6 tables across the room into this other side, and now you can't even see a clock,
Yeah, bike was breaking zigzag on day 3.
Very cool. Oh, and another thing the bike did on one of those was, I think it was the 50-50. Their day 2 was 8-handed, like on purpose. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was
I don't
fantastic.
remember if we mentioned that, but that was awesome.
Yeah, my God, I was like, is this a dream?
Yeah. Yeah,
Much
I was.
space.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about it was I had counted on that 9 seed as a buffer between me and Aaron, and he was gone. So, but it was fine. It was fine. Just like you keep saying, players that we know, the players that we play with a bunch that kind of know what they're doing, they're way less dangerous. They're way less dangerous.
Yeah.
Even dangerous ones like Aaron are less dangerous than the ones we have no
Well,
idea about.
Aaron kind of shrouds that line of being extremely unpredictable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he's the good kind of unpredictable, which makes it a little bit more scary.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. It's not unpredictable because he's like, I don't know here.
Clicking
He's like
buttons,
he's got a plan.
Yeah.
All right. So if you do not make day 2 of this, Derek, you will have your chance to play your first seniors event because you might actually be tempted into this one to get a ring, the 10 a.m. seniors event on Sunday.
Yeah. But there. Oh yeah, that's true.
if
So
you
I
don't
could,
day
if I
two.
bust that,
Yeah, the
I
three
can
o'clock.
do the 3 p.m.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay.
Yep. And the rest of us who aren't quite there are going to have to settle for that 3 o'clock. But it does have a 50K guarantee, and it's a 1 day ring event. Those are going to be going throughout the series like before. Now, one thing I'm pretty disappointed about with the tournament champions being jammed in the middle is that it's kind of like the early middle. Like, if you look, we have 6 ring
Yeah.
events. There's 6 chances to get a ring before the tournament of champions, right? And then that's event 6. And then there are 18 events total. So there's 12 events that are starting or later, right? And it's partially a result of it being such a short series, but it just stinks to only get 6 chances instead of
Right.
last year we got 18 chances to get in, right? So,
Right. It's gonna be
that's
an
annoying.
expensive series. I kind of hope that I don't blank too many of these.
Right. So, I will then not get a chance, and for me, I'll only get that first weekend. So really, I'm only gonna have the housewarming and then that Sunday night one to try and get in, because Monday weekdays I won't be there. I do not have
Yeah.
full remote work like some people like you. So I'm imagine you're excited about this monster stack though, the 200K guarantee.
I am. Yeah, I think, definitely looking at the schedule, I'm gonna have to find some ways to fire some of these weekday ones for the ring chasing.
Yep.
Even if I get a ring, I'm not gonna start ring chasing.
Yep, that 200K guarantee there. Nice. And then the horse for the mixed game. So the mixed game specialists only get one event before the TOC to win a ring here. So that's just, I would have liked to have seen more 1 days jammed in before so we had the maximum chances to win rings personally. But
What was the justification again? It was just to.
somebody thinks this is going to entice more people to play the main event, I think. And I honestly, I feel like it's the opposite. Or not the opposite. I just don't think it's better, but whatever.
Who thinks that?
I don't know. Maybe it's so that instead of, maybe it keeps the overall length of the series down, because before it was after the no, yeah, it was after the whole thing ended, right? So it extended the series by like 2 days, and they just kind of had some satellites for the main going on next to it, right? So it kind of just kept the room open and kept staff requirements going,
No,
right? So that's kind of
when
what it
I
felt
when
like.
I actually think about it, let's just say that you bring in 200 people to travel to this thing.
Well, how
Um,
many entered last year? It was over 300, wasn't it?
was it over
I
300? Yeah,
think it
so
was over
you're bringing
300.
so you're gonna bring 300 people who are champions already, and very few of them are gonna be from LA. It's probably gonna be
Yeah.
like less than 10% from LA.
Yeah, it's
I
probably
can
it's yeah.
understand. I can understand why you don't want people to have a one and done. They're just coming in for tournament champions and like peacing out. So I get it. I will say that you're probably going to increase the main event entries by like 100 people, possibly.
I just don't know if it'd be 100 though. I feel like the majority of people who were willing to play that came early last time, because you literally just had to come 2.5 days early or so.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I think there's probably a significant number of the TOC people that are coming only for that and they're going to leave. So then basically, if they're here already
Yeah, they
and they
they may
bust,
fire. I'm just saying
yeah.
that last year, I mean, I feel like a good percentage of that 300, if they were gonna play the 1700, then they just
Mhm.
came early because it
I
was
think that's
jammed
the
right
point
against
though.
it.
But that's the point though. I think that these people were not planning on playing the
You think they
1700,
will?
but now that they're here, they will.
Yeah, yeah.
I,
Well,
I actually I actually I kind of agree with what they're thinking.
yeah.
Even though I hate it, I wish it was at the end so we got more shots as
I
the
mean,
LA
even if they
community.
just move the main event to the end though, like the main event's not really at the
Yeah,
end
I was gonna
either.
say that
Like,
too, but then when you kind of look at it though, it's like they put the high rollers and stuff afterwards, which always comes after the
yeah,
main. Um, so maybe the XL bounty you could have moved up or something and just maybe, bump that down
yeah.
and the 8 max, I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know.
we'll see. I mean, I'll be happy if the main event gets is massive as it usually
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
or as it was last year rather. And like I've already voiced my displeasure that there's a day one on Sunday, so we're going to day two on Monday. But it's all right. I already called out of work that day. Hopefully, I get a bag this year. That'll be that.
Yeah. And also, if it appears to me that somebody's getting into 160 big blind pot with me on the turn with what I think is a flush draw and I have an overpair, I'm just going to fold to you.
Okay, duly noted. Duly noted. Pre-roll with flush draws. Got it. um, the last ring event before the tournament champions is this 1100. So starting not quite a high roller, but almost a high roller, and it is a 1100. What looks like a 1 day ring event. Yeah, starts at noon on that Wednesday. So that will be your last shot, Derek. That I anticipate if you haven't gotten in the TOC, that's going to get a lot of volume from you.
You know what's, I never really said this before, but the ring is more important to me than the TOC. Like, obviously, I want to play a TOC. Obviously, I want to get a shot at the bracelet. But the rings are
Yeah.
more important to
No,
me.
I definitely need to get a ring. I need to,
Yeah.
it's like, like Pokemon here. Got to catch them all. I got to get all the trophies.
Yeah. And then just winning a bracelet in a TOC is obviously fantastic. You beat a bunch of champions, but it is a closed,
Mhm.
bracelet event. Not shitting on the bracelet, obviously, but I think it's the TOC is not my focus. I'm almost just saying the TOC at the end more for the LA community than for myself.
Gotcha. All right. So then, yeah, Thursday we have a 4 p.m. one-day ring event. It's interesting. The one-day ring events have a really wide variety of prices. The first one was 600, then this one was 1100, this one's 400. Then on Friday begins the main event. That's the thing to circle on your calendars. If you can't afford it, they have satellites running up all through the week. Definitely something you want to get in. It's a 2 million guarantee. Last year we beat it. This year, looking like we're going to beat it by even more, just with all these extra folks in town, as Derek mentioned. I think it's going to be less pronounced than they're hoping because I think a lot of the people played last year anyways, but still should be higher. Definitely should still be higher. Then there's also a one-day ring event on that Friday in the night. Same thing on Saturday. The main event's going on. The TOC is still completing, and there is a one-day ring event at night. Love it. Then after, we will be continuing the main event. The final flight of the main event is on Sunday with mixed games starting back up. Pot Limit Omaha. Okay. So then we have a 100K guaranteed 2-day event that following week. It is a $600 buy-in. So that looks like a nice one if you're around for the weekday. Then they will be doing more mixed games. So the mixed game events are after the main, guys. So for the mixed game players, come in, play the main, and then just settle in for all your mixed games the following week. Torse will be around as well on Tuesday. Let's see, we have another another flight of that $600 100K. Okay. And then on Wednesday, there's the 8 max high roller no limit hold'em, which is interesting because they wait until Wednesday to put this high roller. So there's the main event Sunday, day 2's on Monday. Tuesday, there's not really any kind of bigger events going on. So that's kind of like a day of rest for the guys that want to spend more money, I guess. Then Wednesday is the high roller. So really, there's only this one high roller after, to be honest, Eric. They put the 1100 beforehand, and then this is after. But there are some satellites for the main event happening around this time as well. So
Yeah, I think I just called the it is only one high roller.
yeah, because they put an
Interesting.
1100 one day, which I remember was after the other time. I
Yeah.
think they put that
Yeah.
before. So
Hmm.
and then
Interesting.
yeah, and as Kevin alluded to, the last event of the series is a single day ring event, $400 100K guarantee, which I agree with him. It's gonna blow the doors off that guarantee. It's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, so yeah, that is the schedule, and just got to mention one last time. It also has on Friday this 200 tag team event,
Yeah.
which
Yeah, we gotta get
starts
into
at
that one, buddy.
4 that we'll actually play. And I think we have to decide: is it more fun for us to play on the same team and let folks beat up on us, or was it more fun if we team up with with a listener or something and then we battle each other? I don't. I
Oh.
think it'd be fun to have our team together, but I mean, I could see the
Hmm.
other one being fun too. I don't know. We'll have to
Yeah,
figure it
why?
out.
Well, let's put a poll up.
Yeah, and also, it might depend on what's going on because we're obviously going to play the 11 a.m. the 8 max one-day ring event, right? So if
Hmm.
one of us is still in, we may have to mix it up that way, right? So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, so we'll have to play it by ear a little bit. Okay, all right. So looking good. I'm excited about all of that.
Yeah, this looks like a fantastic schedule per usual for the WSOPC. So
Yeah.
super excited to have this coming along. Super excited to have Kevin, righting the ship a little bit. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's gonna
just
be a good series.
the hardest part is the wait, man. Hardest part's the
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah,
But
but we got plenty of good stuff happening at the bike still. So
yeah.
gonna be a good. The classic is coming up this weekend. It's gonna
Hey,
be.
don't steal the thunder, man. I haven't played the music yet.
Okay, fine. Okay, we're good.
All right, let's play the music.
Let's go.
All right. Yes, as Derek just spoiled, this week is all about the Park West Classic. I am excited. This is the tournament I've been waiting for. The Park West Classic, that's the one I circled on the calendar, even though, what's really funny is the Big Four and the 50-50 had almost identical prize pools. Didn't you find that odd?
Yeah, I actually talked to Jeff about this,
Yeah.
and it seemed like the 500 was even less profitable for the casino.
Because fewer
And I
entries,
suppose,
right? Yeah.
yeah, but But even with the higher price point, you would figure that it would have evened out or something. You know what I mean? From like a cost per, dealer
No,
or whatever per
because
down.
like getting I feel like getting more entries is going to trump it because
Sure.
they were
Sure.
close enough. 400 and 500 is pretty like what's the
Yeah.
difference? $10 a rake.
So
So
I actually made the point to Jeff that I actually do think that it's an odd psychological number. That it's just a 500 number just scared people away, and 400 just got the masses out.
yeah,
Just my
that's fair.
my
That's
theory.
fair.
Yeah.
It's like
Um.
Savage says, when you're doing guarantees, there's no point in doing 1.1 million, 1.3
Right.
million, right? Like do
Right.
do 100,000, do 200,000, but don't do 300,000, right? Like who cares
Right.
about 300,000? Do
Right.
500,000, right? Do a million.
Right.
Yep. It's kind of like do a little Fibonacci on it or something, or do
Yeah.
something a little J metric or something. But
It was shocking. I think we all expected the 500 to. I mean, the 500 still was amazing and beat
it
the
was
guarantee, but
it
we
was
thought
such
it.
a great event. The only downside
Yeah.
to it, and it's not even a downside because you have to get the thing done, is the day one levels were the exact same pretty much as, and times were the same
Right.
as the four. But like,
Right.
who cares? You have 50K in chips.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even think we should have 50K in chips. You should just make day two 50-minute levels, and then
I actually thought about
maybe
that
make
too. I
day
was just.
one structure better. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because like
Yeah.
chips, who cares?
Right. Yeah. I think the problem actually was that the 400K was so well structured that you couldn't make the 500 better. So you
Right?
just had to make it the same. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I would almost just like just keep the same number of chips and day two is just 50-minute
Yeah.
levels. Now it's not a 50-50, it's just a 50, but whatever. But yes, Park West Classic. The reason I brought that up was like I'm curious if the Park West Classic will top out at about the same actual dollar amount as well though, and that would be really weird, right? It's kind of like there's like this volume of money that that LA will stuff into a tournament and then it doesn't matter, the price point determines the number of people, but it's like that's how much money we stuff in over 3 days. It's like I don't know, be interesting. So the Park West Classic starts on Thursday with day 1A. There's only a single flight on Thursday, and it is an 1100 buy-in. I believe last year it was a 1200 buy-in, and I believe they started on Monday, didn't they? Because it was a 1 million guarantee that they missed. Or was
Remember.
that two ago? This is the second one. So yeah, the first one they ran was against the Arizona State Championship and some other MSBT somewhere, maybe Firekeepers actually, and it was $1 million guarantee. And I remember us saying like, why are they running flights? It was definitely Tuesday, but I'm trying to remember if they started them on Monday or not.
Oh, that's right. I might have been Tuesday. I think I might have been Tuesday and not Monday.
Yeah, Tuesday could have been Tuesday. I just remember they
Yeah.
started so early. We're like, they're gonna get 40
Yeah.
people for these flights.
And the thing is, it's so weird because even though the extra days feel like you're burning out the players a little bit, technically you should still have more entries. But for whatever reason, the bike 1100 was the weakest one out of all of them.
Yeah.
And we just supposed that it was because it was too many weekdays for some very strange reason that nobody could explain.
It was
But
also
hopefully this.
a really competitive weekend, and I mean, I think being the marquee event on a schedule helps because people circle it and they save their money for the marquee event, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this is not the marquee event, especially now that it's a 500K. It's sandwiched
Yeah.
between the 2 millions, which so it's not that big, quote unquote. But I'm
Yeah.
still excited. I like it. And they have taken measures to try and really make sure they don't miss that number. Definitely one not a big fan of is the massive double bag bonus. The double bag bonus is insane, way too big. So 12.5% bag up for day two, and the double bag bonus is $8,000.
That is big, a lot of money.
Yeah, that's insane. It's higher than it even should be given if you just do the straight math and just assume everyone's like average when they bag every
Wow.
time,
Why
right?
is it $8,000?
Because they don't want to miss. 12% advance, 8,000 cash, right? And it's 980 in the prize pool. So like, about 8 times 980 is like 8,000. That's like all the money. I mean, honestly, if I bag in the first flight I play, I'm coming back to play again. Like it's just too much money.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know if I would. I actually still don't know if I would chase, but 8,000 is just a ridiculous
it's too
number.
much. I mean, I'll chase. I'll chase. Like the number is absurd. 8, it's a straight up survivor, you know?
Yeah, I kind of wish they didn't. I mean, it's gonna take.
It's going to take
Actually,
the only reason it
I've
won't
read.
is cuz there's only 3 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then probably not that many double qualifiers,
Yes,
but
because there's
still.
only 3 days, and like I was thinking in my head, like how big of a stack would you have to have in the 11 a.m. to like reg the 4 and try and get a double before you go back. Like, because, it's a slow structure. It's a good structure. I don't think you'll be bagging the 11 a.m. in time to late reg the 4 p.m. like you can with these mini megas. That's the odd / dumb thing with the mini megas. You can literally, Frank literally, did he bag 3 times? No. He bagged twice in one day. He had a chance to bag 3 times in one day. Like, you shouldn't have a chance to bag 3 times in one day. Not without playing all the tables at once.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot. So, but those are going on. On Friday, there are 2 flights, 11 and 4 p.m. And then there's also mega satellites happening all day long, which is pretty good. So those mega satellites are a great way to get in, to get an entry. It's $250. 1 in 10 will win, and you win the value of $2,200. So really, it's kind of like, and there's 3 seats guaranteed, 5 seats. There's guarantees to these seats. So if you play, I'm telling you, if you play the mega satellite on Thursday at 12 p.m., that might overlay. There's 3 seats guaranteed.
Yeah.
30 people going to play a satellite at 12 p.m. on Thursday. I don't know about that. So
yeah, these megas are always at risk of overlaying.
There's going to be some overlay in some of these megas. So get in there for sure. And the rake must be low, because 1 in 10 winning 22. It means it's like roughly $30 rake to you. So not bad.
Yeah.
Yep. So then there's
I really like the flip it goes, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yep.
I mean, like, I don't even know what's going on, but it's just like a ton of people around the table, cameras out. Like, yeah, it's fun.
Yep. Did you play one on when you're trying to get a second or third bullet the other day? No?
No, I was pretty, I think when they ran it,
you didn't have time.
I was like, I think we were already kind of pretty close in the money, and I had a decent stack, so I was like, forget it, I'm just going to pay attention to this.
Gotcha. Nope, definitely fun. Get your gamble on there. So yep, Saturday, another 2 flights, 11 and 4 p.m. And then Sunday is the day 2. Also on Sunday, the Mega Millions will begin, and those flights will be at 11 and 4. And then on Monday, we'll be back to the regular 3-flight system for the Mega Millions, which will go all week long and continue through to the following week. So big tournaments, big money. Park West has huge double bag bonus. The only reason I can see it being less good is just because it's sandwiched between these bigger events. So, if you got to rest, if you got to budget, if you got to save energy, like, you would save the smallest one, right? So that's the only thing I can think of.
Yep.
All right. So that is that. At the Lucky Lady this weekend, same as its normal schedule. I don't see any special events on their website, but their boss now gets the link here on the site, the $300 buy-in at 11 a.m. on Sunday. Good way to learn mixed games, along with Big O here on Wednesday, I believe, right? No, Tuesday. I'm sorry, Tuesday at 3. Tuesday at 3. I can't read. Tuesday at 3. Regular schedule, 10K guarantees on the weekend, starting a little later in the day, so they're good to run over late in the day when you bust something else. Over at Hollywood Park this weekend, their typical kind of normal schedule as well. Doesn't look like there's any other events closing the place down. So Friday, you have your $8,000 TGIF bounty event, $50 bounties. Saturday and Sunday, you have your 10K bankroll builders, which are $100 with $100 add-ons. So you can get over there and play those if that is the close casino to you and you do not believe it is a figment of your imagination like Derek does.
You know what? I'm going to just go there one time.
You're going to go there one time? I'll believe it when I see it.
Actually, you know what? Like, if you go, Jared, any of you guys go, let me know. Just to make sure this isn't some sort of apparition.
All right. The next time we might go will be the Sunday special if you don't make a day 2. Actually, no, 4/27. That's going to be during the gap when nothing's going on. That'd be a great time to go. 4/27.
4/27 might be the one. So interestingly, one of my friends is having a big fun birthday day. On a Sunday, I was like, oh man, I wonder what stupid freaking day 2 I'm gonna miss because of this. But it landed there.
Yeah.
And I was like, awesome. It's like right in between the schedule.
Well, I'll be in Vegas that weekend, so I actually can't go either. Yeah. So I guess either of us are gonna go.
Some other time.
Yeah. Okay, and then over at the Commerce, it is their daily tournament schedule as usual, and the weekend events have been killing it. And with this weekend being the Park West Classic, being the 1100, the people playing down the 250 and the 150 probably will not be too impacted by that, so they should still kill it. This is going to be huge. Saturday's 25K guarantee starts at 1. Over 40K like 2 or 3 weeks in a row now. Definitely going to do it this weekend too. And then Sunday, 10K guarantee, 150 with the optional add-on. Also been killing it. 18,000 last week. It's going to be great. So get out there, check it out. Say hi to Kevin.
Yeah, it's so great to I don't know, just have so much action around LA sometimes. I think we maybe take it for granted. So
Yeah.
definitely get out there and support all the card rooms.
Yep. Yep. Honestly, I kind of wish they put like the mini mega right up front, and then the smallerish ones, and then like the classic dead middle, and then a little time. Because I feel like with the, I would feel more tempted to try and take randomly take day three off for these things if it wasn't going to be like, well, if I do it now, I got to take another one off like next week, and if I did it then, I would take that one off next week. Like
Oh,
if I could
I
take
see.
one off, and then I would have a month before the next one where I'm taking that one off, you know.
Right.
So
Hmm.
I would like that. Like if you're gonna make me painful like that, like spread it out more so it's not like geez, you're just out every Tuesday now. It's like
Right.
I know I shouldn't, right?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? And yeah,
Like
Derek's
life
old.
of the working man.
Yep, exactly. They don't get it, man. We got stuff
Yeah.
to do, and we're just getting busier and busier.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Yeah, I'm 50.
Yep.
Exactly 50.
You and I could win a lot of money. Somebody, I was at the table with somebody the other day, could not believe I was as old as I was, let alone you were as old as you were. We would have cleaned up.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's all we got for you this week. Like I said, it was gonna be
Yeah.
chill. Thanks for
Get
hanging
out.
out with us.
Yeah, classic. Get out there, fire those saddies, get in there. It's gonna be I think it's gonna be a big one.
Yeah, I am gonna unload the clip at the classic. Hopefully that means one and then a double bag, but whatever it means, we're gonna be in there. Last year I
Yeah.
bagged a ton of chips and I let Mark bluff me off of them with a stupid fours, and he went on to win the thing. That's not happening this year.
Yeah. Well, to put it this way, you can fire seven and make it all back with one double bag.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you out there. I hope to see you at the bike at the Park West Classic, and if not, maybe over at Commerce, wherever you're playing.